Hello and welcome to GCN's preview of the 2021 World Cyclo-cross Championships. This year, we return to Belgium, the spiritual home of cyclocross. And Jeremy Powers and myself will be taking a closer look at the course in Oostende, speaking to some of the biggest names in the sport and taking a look at the men and women who will battle out for that rainbow jersey. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without cursing a few riders with a GCN prediction. Let's start by saying that the World Championships is certainly going to look and feel very different this year. Just like life as we know it, coronavirus has had a massive impact on cyclocross. And while it's fantastic that we've got a World Cyclocross Championships at all, it will, of course, take place this year without fans. And also, unfortunately, Jeremy, without the junior riders, which is hugely disappointing for them.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's been a hard season for a lot of the riders. It's been really challenging to go to each race each weekend. We saw a lot of the junior riders were racing with the elite riders earlier in the season, and then because of the restrictions from the coronavirus, they've had to bring the field counts down, which has meant only UCI ranked riders and then older riders have been really able to race. So some of the younger junior riders that were competing with the elites are not able to compete any longer, and that's been unfortunate. You know, we hope that we're able to get back to a place where the juniors are going to have their own race, but this one being canceled, I know it hurts a lot of people, and it's a real bummer for the sport overall.
Now, one rider that we were really looking forward to watching in action in the World Championships is upcoming British rider Zoe Backstead. And also, we took the opportunity to hear from last year's Junior World Champion THIBAU Nace, and I caught up with Zoe.
I was really annoyed, a bit disappointed when they cancelled the race. I've been working so hard for the past 2 weeks. I know every single other junior rider had been working so hard for coming into the World Champs, and it's just a bit of a shame that they've cancelled it now, because if I feel like all of the hard work has gone for nothing. But with the current situation in the world, I kind of felt like it was going to happen after they cancelled the World Cup for us.
I think it's hard for the guys who had to prove themselves this year. There are some guys who could really pull off a season like I did last year, and they maybe did only 2 or 3 races. So they will compete next year in the under 23 or the elite races without even riding a junior race. So I think it's hard.
Let's hope by next year we're looking at a world that's a little bit more normal. Jeremy, let's have a look at the course. What do we know about it?
Yeah, it's a similar course to the 2017 Belgian National Championships, which was won by Wout van Aert, although there are some differences. Oostende is right on the Belgian coast, right up in the western part, and it's basically got this massive flyover, an artificial bridge that then zooms back down onto the beach and then over to the horse racing track. This is what everybody had to say about the course.
I didn't really have a close look. I never really do, because I want to ride on it to have a feeling with it, and I haven't done it yet, but my teammate Gianni Vermeers has ridden it, and he explained me a few things, but it's difficult to analyze them if you didn't ride the course yourself.
I only managed to ride on the grass because the sand hadn't been set up yet, and I managed to get up the bridge as well, and that was probably a little bit less steep than I thought it would be. I watched the video from the Nationals a few years ago, and the bridge, it looked like so steep. And I went there and I was like, oh, actually, this isn't that bad. Like, you can sprint the whole way up it out the saddle, because it's long, but it's not too long that you have to sit down and like slave over the bike. But for the rest of the course, I actually quite liked it. It was quite fast, and there was a lot of sweeping bends. There wasn't really anything in the parts that I rode where you had to almost come to a standstill and turn and take the corner really slowly. Even some of the more technical off-camber bits, you could still put loads of power down. And I think, it's a really good course. It would have suited me as well.
Yeah, I did the Belgian Championships in, I think, 2017 when I was European champion on that track in Oostende. So I knew the track already from that one-time race, because it's not a very traditional race where we come every season, but it's only one race happened there. But I also did some recon with the Belgian team the days before the race of Bredene. So I knew the track. It's almost the same like we had on the Belgian Nationals. The sand is a little bit changed, but in my opinion, it's a really nice track to hold championships on. We had against the coastline a very nice shot for the cameras and the television, but also very nice to ride for us.
I think it's a funny course, and it's got a lot of different things: sand, the walking, the grass. Yeah, so I think I like it.
Are you afraid of heights?
Because of the bridge? Well, I don't know. It's a very tall bridge, but afraid of heights. I don't think it's that high to be afraid of.
Honestly, I haven't quite seen the course yet, but I've heard that like half it's a really fun kind of hard packed mud, maybe depending on how much rain we get, and then the other part is sand. I hear it's quite a bit of running sand, so I'm gonna hopefully come in fit with good legs, and then I think once you start racing cross, it all kind of falls into place, whether it's a sand race, a mud race, a fast race. I think I'll wait until Saturday morning to really know tire selection and tire pressure and all those fun details that we think about on race day.
I've always been confident in my running, and then it's the transition between the sand into the faster sections of the course. I think we're looking to just stay on the gas and not lose places there.
Given what we know about Oostende, what sort of race can we expect? Could the weather and even the tide play a factor in the races?
Apparently on Saturday, it's going to be around 2:15 is going to be high tide. And then on Sunday, around 2:53. So right at the elite category races, on the elite men's race in particular on Sunday, they might get a little bit pushed further up onto the beach and away from that firmer, wet sand. So it could be really a lot more unpredictable and that loose, dry stuff that's going to make them probably get forced off of their bikes, Marty.
Given Jumbo-Visma's recent videos, I'm just expecting one of Wout van Aert coming in on a surfboard or something like that. I think that's going to line this one up beautifully for a World Championship.
You know, I think that all these riders have ridden so much sand, whether it's the sand of Coxida or a big race like Mol or something like this over the years. They're always training in the sand. Belgium has a lot of moisture and precipitation naturally. So when we say dry sand, it's not like we're talking about that white beach sand that you see down on the French Riviera, for instance. This has still got a lot of moisture in it consistently. And I think that even if it is drier and they get pushed further up, I do still think that they'll be able to find a line that's rideable to some extent. And if they can't, well, we all know that everybody's running legs are pretty good right now.
Well, we certainly know it's going to be exciting. Right, let's have a look at the under-23 men first. The riders, it's going to be quite difficult to call this one because we haven't seen a huge amount of them racing against their peers. We're seeing them kind of mixed in with the elites, but we've got to hold up there Ryan Kamp, European and reigning world under-23 champion. He's got to be a favourite going into this.
Yeah, I mean, some of the rounds were canceled due to COVID-19. So it's been, these guys have been racing with the elites and they've been going super, super deep, trying to get there. The under 23 men's race, of course, you said Ryan Kamp is there, but there's a lot of other riders as well. THIBAU Nace, one of the riders that we got to speak to, not able to compete in this year's edition, not selected for the team. So he's super frustrated, but a lot of riders coming into this one looking really, really hungry and really, really strong. But Ryan Kamp, I think right now would have to be the undeniable favorite as he heads into this one.
I think from reading some of the interviews with him though, and then British rider Thomas Mean in particular is another rider that people are kind of talking up. He had that great World Cup victory in Tabor. It was quite a while ago now, so it's going to be interesting to see how that form is. Pim Ronhaar is another one who's been putting in some exceptional rides well above his very tender 19 years.
He will definitely be a force to be reckoned with, if not just this weekend coming up at the World Championships, definitely in the future. So he's been riding a really good season so far, Marty. And you're right, Thomas Mean, very, very strong. We've been able to catch up with him. I would consider him a friend of the show. He's been really good. Like you said, winning that World Cup race in Tabor with the under-23s. He also rode super strongly in the Koppenberg. He's been really good all year long, consistent. So definitely this could be something for Thomas Mean as well.
Yeah, Timo Kielik, Niels van der Putte, Anton Ferdinand, all could be up there in the under-23 men. Let's hear from Thomas Mean now. we've kind of seen you settle into racing with the biggest and the best in the world. Do you think ultimately now, looking back over the last couple of seasons, do you think it's making a lot of you under 23 riders perhaps step up a little bit quicker than you may have done, but only, you know, because you've already got that ability? Is it making you bigger, stronger riders as a result?
Yeah, I think so. Racing sometimes for an hour and 10 minutes almost in the like in Dendermonde and Hulst, the races ran a little bit too long. So the first year under 23s are racing sometimes 25 minutes more than they were the season before. So that can only help with the development, make them more used to racing elite crosses every weekend. So yeah.
How are you feeling going into these World Championships?
A little bit nervous. It's my last year in the 23, so a little bit of pressure, but I think I've done everything possible to go to the start line feeling 100%. So it's all or nothing there.
Moving on, Jeremy, to, for me, has got to be one of the most exciting races of the weekend, the under 23 women. When you look at this race, the likes of Puk Pieterse, Manon Bakker, Inge van der Heide, the Dutch strength at the top of this one is something to behold, isn't it? But the Dutch potentially are not going to have it all their own way.
No, Blanca Vash, the Hungarian national champion, is also lurking, Marty. She could definitely be an upset for this race. She's been riding super, super strong. We saw her in the lead at the Namur World Cup. She took 2 big wins, one of them in Holehem over the Christmas period. So she's definitely got the confidence and the skill set to be able to do some damage in the under 23 women's field. And personally, for me, I'd have to say that she's the odds-on favorite for this course.
Looking ahead as well, Anna Kay finished the Cyclocross World Cup in Overijse in great form. That was a really different course to what we've got in Oostende, but Anna coming into great form just at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really strong ride from the Star Casino rider. She really is able to be putting it together over in Overijse, but looking towards Oostende with the sand and the running, this could be something for her. A lighter rider, tends to really like this type of track, so it could be really good, especially that steep artificial bridge that goes up and over. Could really be something for Anna Kay this weekend.
Marion Norbert Riberola, the defending champion, she hasn't quite had the form this season. Of course, riders coming into the cyclocross season, it did depend massively on what the lockdown restrictions were in 2020, on how much training they were actually able to do coming into the season. But Marion has sort of looked like she's starting to come on to some good form. She did lose her French elite title to Amandine Fouquenet from Arkea, who's also a very good road rider. But France also could be up there. And of course, one of the revelations of this season is Fem van Empel, another Dutch rider, and we can't discount her at all. Saturday afternoon, one of the hardest races to call, and it always is traditionally, is the elite women. Now, defending champion Ceylin del Carmen Alvarado, what a start to 2021 she has had, winning that final World Cup in Overijse. But Lucinda Brand, who again has been a sensation this season, taking that World Cup overall. But there is a massive difference, Jeremy, isn't there, between being consistent week in, week out, and then just getting everything absolutely right on the day.
Yeah, peaking for the World Championships is something that's really is hard to do. And we were hearing from Alverado that she felt like she had somewhere to go. They all went away on training camp. They've all come back. And then in Hama and in Overijse, we were able to see Alverado take back-to-back victories. So Alverado, like I was saying during commentary, Marty, is going to sleep well leading into this one. She's been dominant at the beginning of the season. She had a big challenge from the Lucinda Brand throughout the year, but she's been able to really show herself in this last weekend leading into the World Championships that she's got great form right now.
She has indeed. You can't discount 7 times world champion Marianne Vos of Jumbo-Visma. She seems in that new team. She seems to have been again reborn, and she's talking herself that she feels that she could have the form on the day. And if someone can peak on that one day, it's Marianne Vos.
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, Marianne Vos, like you said, Marty, she's been winning since before I was even racing, it seems like. She's really going, but now she's left CCC Live. She's now over with Jumbo-Visma. She feels like she's at home. She's been talking in pre-race interviews as though she's got the form and that her form is on the way up from just a couple of weeks ago where she won the smaller cross in Essa. Now she's here. She raced in Overijse this weekend. It's featuring in the front group for the first half of the race. And what she can do in Oostende at the Worlds, well, we're going to find out.
Another rider that did impress me in the final World Cup was Evie Richards, and double under 23 champion, looking like she's getting back to her best in cyclocross. But we've all been really excited, and someone you know well is the growth of Clara Honsinger, the American national champion this year. Do you think the course potentially is tough enough for Clara Honsinger?
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely an outsider. You know, we talked a lot about different things. You know, it's about the starts, right? A lot of people have been critiquing her starts. She's been saying that she has a training program that has led her to the World Championships to be her absolute best. She was able to ride fourth in Overijse at the World Cup. She was on the podium in Dendermonde and in Namur, some of the hardest tracks. We know that the World Championships is going to be a race that you can go as hard as you can. It's going to be a deserving winner that comes out of the World Championships in Oostende. And that, Marty, will play into Clara Honsinger's hands because I'd say cardiovascularly, physically, she is one of the strongest women out there right now.
And you took the opportunity to catch up with her, and this is what Clara Honsinger had to say.
Looking at fitness, it's definitely, there's this big exclamation point on the day of Worlds, so definitely wanting to be at my highest physical level for that day. And then for like technical, spending a lot of time practicing the sand. It's something back in North America that people say like, oh, this race has a lot of sand in it. But no, our races back in North America, like maybe you ride 100 meters at the most of sand.
What are your goals then in terms of the World Championships? Obviously, you've shown that you're able to be in the front group. Yeah, do you have a specific goal? Do you have a place that you're hoping to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, like, in kind of tiers of goals, the lowest tier, I want to hold that position in the front group. I want to, represent my ability there. But moving up, putting so much effort into a single race, I really want to take away. Like the highest would be, potentially getting a podium. That would be just stellar. That would be just really exceptional.
Great to hear from Clara, so relaxed and at home and focused for this one. For us, if not from the US, it's great to get to know her, and I think we're starting to do that. In terms of other riders that we've got to talk about, one is Denise Betsema, who's been on consistent form so far this year, and past multiple world champion is Sanne Cant.
3 times world champion, so many times, I think 11 Belgian national championship titles. So Sanne Cant coming into some great form here, been riding just off that front group, but featuring for longer and longer every single race that she's done. So really is a potential winner of the Worlds over in Oostende.
Now, one rider who's always been a friend of cyclocross here on GCN is Lucinda Brand, and I took the opportunity to catch up with her. 2 bronzes, a silver, 4th in your kind of world's sort of career and history. How much would it mean to you to pull on that rainbow jersey?
Yeah, it will be amazing, of course. I think there will probably not be one rider who doesn't have the dream to wear that jersey for a whole season, and the rest of your life be having a remembering on it. So. Yeah, of course it will be very huge, but in the meantime, like I said, if it doesn't work out, I will probably win, I think I have it already, the World Cup leader, and actually that is maybe, if you see over a whole season, it's more difficult to win that one than winning a World Championship actually, because you need to be good at every single race. And in different type of races, and the Worlds is just one day, it's one type of race, so yeah, it's totally different, of course.
Now on to the elite men. Now it's very difficult in this title to look past two riders that have been doing battle since they were teenagers in Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert. Ola Chenouille took the opportunity to catch up with Wout van Aert at the Jumbo-Visma training camp, and here's what he had to say.
The main focus is still on winning the race and not on only beating Mathieu, because I think it's to be at first it's not a good motivation, and second is it's a waste of energy actually, because cyclocross, like you probably can see on television, needs such a concentration on the track, on every detail, and if you're then only thinking about your competitor, then you're doing it wrong. But of course, if Mathieu goes all out in the first lap, then I know what I have to do, and this is always different than with any other rider. So definitely focused on each other, but I try to focus a lot on the race itself, and I think that's the most important.
Jeremy, I think it's great for cyclocross and cycling in general to have two big names like Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel clearly both back on their best form right at this very moment.
Yeah, I mean, if we think back to some of the previous World Championships, we've seen some amazing battles. I think about Luxembourg as being one of the best. I mean, there were flat tires, there was drama, but Wout van Aert pulls out these green tires that everyone forever as cyclocross fans will talk about. He's able to come away with the victory, and Van der Poel cries on the podium. It's just, this is the level that these two riders are at. They know that they're the best in the world. They want to try to show themselves every single time they line up, but the Worlds means so much because it's defined for a year, and it's the ones that go on in the history books that everybody remembers at the World Championship. So yeah, I mean, these two riders really, they're going to fight until the absolute death to be able to see the leader and the winner of the World Championships in Oostende.
One rider that really has just launched himself at elite level, and we've known what he's done as a junior and an under 23 is Great Britain's Tom Pidcock, and he won against Mathieu van der Poel in Alverado, where he just, he attacked him, he rode away from him. It wasn't down to a mechanical or a puncture from van der Poel. He really showed his class, and he's really kind of been embraced by the Belgians and the Dutch as someone that could be up there potentially as a medalist.
Yeah, I mean, the race in Havre, the race in Namur, last year's World Championships, he was second place. Pidcock is a rider that I think I've said in the past, he also has a V12 engine. He's younger than Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel, but he is definitely the only rider really that's beaten those two in a proper head-to-head match. He almost eked out the win in Namur, although you saw van der Poel with his hands in his head after that one, just absolutely disheveled. He was hurting badly, but he was able to take the victory. But Pidcock, man, Marty, he is definitely, he's not even a dark horse. He is, in my opinion, one of the favorites. If he's on form, if he comes into that race and he wants to do something, the British rider can really do some damage.
Another rider we've got to watch out for, of course, is TOON, and he's had his own injury problems after that sort of brush with a van where, according to reports, he got carried down the street for about 80 metres on the front of a van, and that kind of seemed to take the edge off his form going into that very busy Christmas period. But as a home rider, he's going to be massively motivated for a medal.
We go into these championships with sort of this now, not just in cyclocross, but in world cycling, this enormous presence of Mathieu van der Poel and Wout van Aert, and people are now, because of his performances this season, are now talking Tom Pidcock up as another rider. Is this something, and we know the way that you like to race, does this fire you up even more to be the rider that springs that surprise and takes the rainbow jersey?
Yeah, in first place, that keeps the pressure away from our performance. So everybody, all the press and all the public is watching how those big guns are going to race, and it's watching out there. Every pedal stroke they make, the public has seen. But every lap we can stay in their wheel. Yeah, it gives us more publicity, but also myself more motivation and more the knowledge that we maybe can also win that day. So I had a few races in the past that I can follow, like example last year in Namur. I had a very big battle with Mathieu, and at that moment when you can battle with those big guys, then you still get better and better legs, and you're more motivated and more powerful than other races.
Now, one rider who we've known for years and we've seen him take a victory here, and he's always been Mr. Consistent, and he's always kind of sat in the shadow of the likes of Laurens Sweeck and Eli Iserbyt, is Michael van Torenhout. And as a former under-23 champion, he's just grown and grown this year.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, Michael van Torenhout, after winning the World Cup in Tabor, he's been so strong. I feel like those victories in the Super Prestige that he took for the first time in his career at the elite level is really just backing up the success that he had as world champion in the under-23 division, Marty. He's got really a lot of class, a lot of big results. He's always been there. He's always been on the podium. He's part of this new wave of Belgian cyclocrossers that came in after the last generation. He's really starting to flap his wings and be a leader of the Poel, Sals, and Bingold team. But this weekend, I think he's definitely a threat for the podium, if not potentially the win. I mean, he's just been so consistent. You could never count Michael van Torenhout as being a possible winner of the World Championships.
Right, enough chat. Let's make some predictions. And unfortunately, we know the curse of GCN. There'll be a few riders that will just putting their heads in their hands and going, I can't believe they just predicted that I was going to win the Worlds. But let's start with the under-23 men. Who's your favourite for that one?
Pim Ronhaar is my favorite for that race. I think that he's been consistent in my mind, the way that I see him hold himself after the races and the way that he's been riding. I think that I'm going to go with the Dutch rider.
I just love his emotion when he crosses the line. He doesn't hide anything, does he? And that's always great to see in a rider. Do you know what? I've got to keep it up there for the Brits. I'm going for Thomas Meen.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a good choice.
Okay, under-23 women. Who's your prediction for that one?
I think for the under-23 women, it's got to be Fem van Empel. Fem van Empel has just been so consistent. We saw her first at the Urban Cross in Kortrijk. She was riding really strongly there. She was in that front group. She showed she has the consistency. She's very delicate on the bike, the way that she tears through sections, and she's just got the right skill set. She's got very long legs. She runs well, and I'm just gonna put it out there. I think that she could have a very good race, and she could be the winner of the under-23 women's race.
Yeah, it's interesting as well when you look at Fem van Empel. Both Anna Kay are both former footballers as well, which is quite interesting when you see that parallel. Right, I'm going to go for a first world title for Hungary and Blanka Kutavash.
Very good pick.
Okay, right, moving on. Elite women.
My heart tells me that I have to say Clara Hansinger, but I can't predict her for the World Championship title. I have to say that it's going to be Ceylin del Carmen Alvarado, the rider from Alpes and Phoenix. I think she doubles up on her world title with the form that she's had. I know that sounds like, oh, yeah, that's easy. You know, you're picking that. That's the odds are all in her favor. But I'm going off that as a commentator, as a big fan of this sport. I really see her super motivated, very focused. She's worked on all the aspects of her game, and I think that she was just tired, Marty, during the Christmas period. I think she was able to decompress, take a little bit of a turn down in form, and then do some big miles down in the sun of Spain, comes back, wins Hama and in Overijse in those last two races the weekend before the World Championships. She looks very confident, and I think that what I see from her is a rider that holds herself on what her past performances is. This is going to really propel her, and I believe that she can win another world title.
Okay, for me, I'm going to go with Lucinda Brand this year. I think it's time for a rainbow jersey. And I think just this sort of weekend just before the World Championships, I think, the form is definitely there, and she will know how to peak for that world title. Okay, moving on. Elite men. This is is it just a 50-50 with this one?
You go first, Marty. You go first. I don't want to go first. You go first.
Okay, I'm going to go with Wout van Aert.
Good. Well, then in that case, I will go with Mathieu van der Poel. And I'll say that from Van der Poel, I know that he's more of an emotional rider. You see someone like Wout van Aert, he's very flat. Like doesn't seem like anything can bother him. Whereas Mathieu, he has a little bit more of this, but he's also still a complete cyborg, right? He doesn't let a lot of things bother him. But with all the things that Wout van Aert and the team is throwing at him right now, calling him the favorite in the post-race interview in Overijse and some of the other things that they'll do throughout the week, he's playing mind games with Van der Poel already to try to take this world title away. But I think that over the years, Van der Poel has learned the tricks of Wout van Aert, and I believe that he's going to be able to overcome those. So I'm going for Mathieu van der Poel, and you're going for Wout van Aert.
Indeed. Now, it's easy to take our word for it, but, what do the riders have to say about it? Here's some predictions right from those that are going to be in the mix.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Dutch sweep, because what else would it be? If Clara gets in there, that would be amazing. I think if Sana could have a really good race too, but I think if we can just break up the Dutch sweep, I think that would be successful, no matter what country it is. Like, just one or two riders can like break up the top 7 Dutch riders. I think that would be a success, maybe.
What about on the men's side? What do you think?
I think Mathieu. Like, I would want him to win again. I just love watching him race, and he's so great at all of it, and he's such a great sand rider. Depending on the course, more if it's a heavy mud race, I think Wout's probably more like a better heavy mud rider. But if it's a little bit faster with sand, I think it's a Mathieu course for sure.
I'm leaning towards, I think a Belgian's going to be taking the elite men.
Okay, so you're thinking of Belgian. Okay, that's wide ranging. How about for the under 23? We've obviously got some hitters down there on the women's side.
Puck Peters has been riding very well. She's one of the few women who are bunny hopping and is a very impressive technical rider. On the men's side too, I think I'm sticking with the Dutch for the men's under 23. Ryan Kemp. With the elite women, I'm leaning towards, Clara Hansinger too. My teammate has been riding really well and coming on strong, so I'd like to see her up there. I think it's going to be a fight between Clara or Lucinda Brand.
Who do you think could win the men's elite race and the women's elite race this year?
Wout just has such a deep engine right now, which will really benefit him on that course. As for the women, Lucinda, again, like just having, I think she's really been able to tie in her fitness and technique this year. I think this is definitely her year to get it. But then again, Betsema is also running pretty hot right now. And I don't know where I'll come into this, but I hope it's within, I'm aiming to be in that group somewhere.
I think then it would be Mathieu first, Wout second. For third, I can't name somebody for third at the moment. I think that really would be the form of the day. And I think there are 5 people at the moment that could be third in that race. And I cannot name one person, so I just should name myself then, shouldn't I?
Definitely put yourself up there. And in terms of the women, do you think the Dutch do you think it'd be an all Dutch podium, do you think?
Yeah, I think Lucinda will win. And I think then it would be close between Betsema and Ceylin for second and third.
That's a wrap on our preview of the World Cyclo-cross Championships. All there is to do is to remind you to tune in over on the GCN Race Pass.
And as always, territory restrictions do apply, so please check what's available in your area. We've got plenty more cycling coverage coming up on GCN Race Pass with our first live road race this Sunday, GP Marseillaise, as well as even more cyclocross action all the way through the end of February.
Jeremy, we'll be back with you here next Monday for a full roundup of the World Championships in the GCN Racing News Show. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.